Okay, folks, let's get started. And this is our, who knows how many episodes of working on the Huns. It's been a few. And there'll be a few more. There'll be a few more. All right. Let's see where the heck we left off. That looks odd. Take a look at something here a second. There we go. That looks a little bit better. There we go. Didn't have that notification there where you could type anything on my screen, so figured that didn't make any sense. Although I'm not the one doing the typing. But still, when you're used to things look a certain way every time you're filming this, and then all of a sudden it looks different, something's up. Okay. So the fellow we were working on yesterday was this one, and we don't have a whole lot left to do on him. Bouquets or something like that. We'll just do regular brown for that. Yeah, I basically was offline yesterday. There was no game day because I was playing single parent this week. My wife's out of town, and I did not want to leave my daughter here just to go game. So last 2 days I've had some pretty bad neck aches at times, so uncomfortable. So that's why I did not film yesterday. But we're back, and hopefully the neck pains will not resume. I think I pinched something in my neck and it's undone, but it was pinched for most of the day. So even if you fix those things, it'll still throb away for a couple days afterwards. So maybe I'm getting too old for roller coasters and I can't handle that anymore. But I don't remember really having an issue with any of them either of the 2 days. It was the day afterwards. Taking some of the excess paint of this off of this. I wonder if the fan isn't set back asswards. It's like damn near full and it's hardly blowing anything at all. Let's turn it the other way and see what happens. We'll find out here in a second. Or maybe that doesn't do it. Oh well. Oh. Well, I'm really not paying attention because that's not the color I wanted at all. Well, hopefully we get some people to come by. If not, I'll just go do something else. Dear Lord. Oh, lovely. We're off to a slow start today. Oh, it is pretty early. Now, it'd be nice to finish this guy and the other guy that I started tonight. Be nice to knock both of them out. handle to whatever this saber is back in here. Okay. Yeah, it's not much of anything else other than like the hooves. Where's that hoof? Hoofy color brown. Oh, that's not it. Hoofy color gray. Stone gray. Yeah, I knew if I would connect too late, I'd probably peter out, wouldn't get anything done. And I wasn't super productive yesterday, only because my neck was hurting. But I may need to go make some coffee to add some spunk to my step, some spunk to my stroke, because we're painting. Be right back. Son of a gun! That's right. Hey, speaking of guns, timing is everything. Yeah, kind of early this time, and I don't know. Everybody may still be at work or something. I figured I'd get a jump start on it. I didn't get much painting yesterday. I did, like I said earlier, I went to a theme park for 2 days, and I'm trying to figure out why I had this headache. But it started up here, kind of at the back of my head. I think I probably pinched something in one of my upper vertebrae or something. Just dislocated something. It was probably due to it being so hot, and I got dehydrated, and those little discs change. You know, shit happens. No big deal. I'm pretty sure I unpopped it. The problem is, as soon as I start getting a headache, I take, Tylenol or something, and I figure, okay, is it caffeine? Have caffeine. Oh, it could be dehydrated. Have water. It's like, because I'd rather have, like explosive diarrhea instead of a headache. I can't think with a headache. You've been home and sick. Uh-oh. I don't get to stay home when I'm sick. Anybody else would have not gone to work yesterday. Because I did not wake up feeling good. I woke up feeling one of those bad headaches that felt like I wanted to throw up just to feel better. And of course it wouldn't help, but yeah, I don't get to stay home. I would just, if I can't go in one day, then whatever reason I didn't go in, it'd be even worse the next day. I got nobody to cover for me. So hopefully you're doing all right. Maybe you're one of the fortunate people that can work from home. If I could work from home, I'd make damn sure I'd never go back in the office. Work in my underwear, so to speak. I'm not working in underwear, but whatever the hell you want. I'm not having to wear any PPE. You're a migraine sufferer, so I understand. Yeah, I don't do well. That's horrible. Like I said, I'd rather have explosive diarrhea. I mean, I don't want to have explosive diarrhea in a public setting. I want to be, from the safety of my own home. But I don't do well with headaches. Which is why I rarely drink. Because then, I get a headache because of multiple reasons. And it just isn't worth it, Not worth it. All right, let's spruce this guy's. I feel like we got to add a little bit more color to the furs that's on his back. And not this Historicon, but the previous one. I had such a bad headache one morning. I think it was Saturday morning when I woke up. I literally did throw up. I threw up in the middle of the parking lot twice. Like I was some kind of drunk or something like that. And had nothing to do with it. That's the worst I've felt in many years. Was Historicon 2019. So I made sure not to repeat that this Historicon. And this Historicon, I felt freaking great the whole time. I was also popping vitamins the whole time. I was popping those emergencies. I didn't want to get a common. I wasn't worried about COVID. I didn't want to get a common cold from anybody because there's a lot of people that don't wash their hands and other parts of their bodies there. So We still need to ramp this up a little bit more, because the front of this doesn't look just right. So I'll be doing that from now on. I'll be popping pills. Pills meaning, the over-the-counter vitamin C stuff, and bringing my pillow. This guy's about done. I'm going to call him done. This fool. All right, who do we got left? We got the other half-assed guy that I started and forgot that I didn't finish him. This guy, okay. Well, this guy actually looks like he's got little feathers dangling from that. So we're going to leave those black because of them being yak tails. Oh, we stopped in the middle of his face. We didn't even finish his face. All right, we got to find some better. We got to find some better brushes for this. 5 folks on here. A lot of sound. Progress. That's right. Got to get done with these guys so I can work on the next group, whoever that may be. Hell, it may even be some World War II stuff. Keep your pants on, folks. How Tony does it? How goes it? Better than yesterday. I pinched something in my neck and it was throbbing. Actually, I felt really bad yesterday morning when I woke up. By yesterday evening, I was just uncomfortable. I probably could have painted, but I just hung out with a daughter and we ended up watching a movie that I thought she would find funny. That last time I saw it, I thought it was hilarious, and it has not aged well. And it was not hilarious at all. It was stupid. I knew it was stupid, but it wasn't stupid. It was moronic, and so we soldiered through that. And what park did we visit? We went to Universal Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. We have season passes to both of those. So what we really wanted to do, this is going to sound stupid, but they have this thing there that you can go to a viewing. And I don't know, I've never been to it before, but there's a little area where you supposedly can rate upcoming shows and commercials and stuff like that. And we've been wanting to do it. And and we kind of were prepared. We watched we went and kind of see the tips of what to do. Sometimes they don't take people from Florida. So we were prepared with coming from another zip code. And they give you a gift card. I don't give a shit about the gift card. I just think it'd be cool to, at least do it once, right? We've been to the park, 40 times. Maybe not 40, but 20. And we've never done it. And it's like a media center or whatever. So we go there on Saturday, and just the daughter and I. Wife's out of town. And we're prepared with our alternate zip code and our alternate area code for our phone number in case they ask for it, in case it happens to be a not Florida resident type thing. And the first thing right off the bat, my daughter's talking to the guy, and he asks, I said, well, are you 18? And she goes, no. And she's not. She's 17 and change or whatever. And he's like, oh, well, you got to be 18. And I wasn't upset at her because it's my natural tendency to not lie. So I would have probably said the same thing. But we're like, well, let's go back later and say we're 18. So, and then we saw, and they weren't running it on Sunday because we did it over. So that's the next time we go. We're going to go when, we're going to say she's 18. I mean, it's just ridiculous that, she can already watch a rated R movie, You know, not that I want her watching anything, but obviously if it's inappropriate or whatever that we're watching, we're gonna walk out of the damn place. But I'm like, just for liability reasons, I thought it'd be something pretty cool to do. You know, there's not an age limit on going to Halloween Horror Nights, and that shit's worse. So I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed because I was really looking forward to doing that, to see what that's all about. You know, but you have permanent neck issues from suffering severe whiplash and complications from it since early 2014. I think everybody should marry a chiropractor. Either you're the chiropractor or the person you marry is a chiropractor. I think it's cool as shit. Now, I understand there's some quacks out there, okay? And I don't buy into the something hurts in my neck, so let me pull my toe. I don't give a shit that all nerves are connected to each other. I'm not an algebra 2 guy, okay? So when things don't make sense or they're too much theory, I like tune out. But, you know, if something's wrong with your neck and something's pinched there, it's super freaking cool. So every time I've gone, I haven't gone that many times. I've gone maybe, 7 times in my whole life. I try to learn something from it, you know, and usually it's like once I realize that it's not a headache, it's something pinched, I can work it out, you know. And then of course by the time you're still in pain because those nerve endings or whatever are still throbbing. Mr. Ben, welcome. Which park has the Indiana Jones live action set? That is what used to be called MGM Studios, and it is the Disney park that's now called Disney Hollywood Studios, and I still call it MGM, so different park. It's not that kind of pain. Scar tissue prevents me from turning my neck. Oh, that's bad. Turning my head, not my neck. Yeah, the Disney part. No, Disney makes it really inconvenient to be able to see everything. I'm not a fan of Disney. And I don't mean because of anything other than just how they run their parks. You know, it's really a pain in the ass. You know, they're busy every single time, all the time. You can't, you know, just people go all over the world to go there. And that's not a vacation. That's a good way to be tortured, you know. And it's really, you know, it's not the walking, it's not the heat, it's the standing. The standing kills me. I don't mind walking, you know. How long do I plan on being streaming? I don't know. Man, I planned all day long and everything went sideways. At least an hour. At least an hour for sure. Unless I suffer a stroke. And then, in which case, all bets are off. Yeah, we actually had season passes do Disney when COVID hit, and then they just basically canceled everybody's. And it's something to do. It's affordable if you go to it. It's kind of like a gym. People that pay to the gym go to the gym and don't go to it, then you know it's not a good deal. But you don't go in the heat. You don't go in the heat when everybody's around. It's kind of like a double whammy. You go when it's comfortable and there's less people, you know? The worst thing about a lot of people is that people do not walk how they drive a vehicle, or maybe they do. But it's like, you know, if you're walking from point A to point B, stay to the freaking right, you know? Not when you take 2 steps and you can't take a 3rd step without having to do a dodge, it's kind of a pain, you know? You need to step away for a little bit, need to get some food, take a shower after my walk, be back hopefully shortly. Okay. Don't forget deodorant. Don't forget to put on deodorant. But I don't know if it was from the rides or whatever, because I'm sure whatever was in it is gone. It's just sometimes you get the nerves throbbing back. All right. Let's see. I was going to look for... Damn it. Where's my producer? I need to get on my producer. It's all her fault, my producer. If I'm going to have a make-believe producer, it might as well be female. Yeah, this is definitely not one of the better quality brushes. That's the X-Acto knife. That's one thing you need to put your eyes on it before you start digging your hand in here. And next thing you end up with lacerations. Okay, let's see if this will do the trick for some of this stuff. I don't want to use the real fine one on everything, or there won't be any of it left. See if I can kind of figure out about where we left off, color-wise. That's about it. So yeah, I was disappointed we didn't get to do that, but now we know. Bad news. Uh-oh. Keep is out of those elephants. You might have to contact the museum directly and ask the owner if he'll cast one up specifically for you if I need it. Well, good news, I don't need it. It was just cool to see all the pieces, so. The word got out and they sold them all. Nah, I got one, I'm good. I wonder if that means he's going to make his new version of it. I guess it does. I wish you'd have accurate pictures of what they look like, because the renderings is not what they look like. Fortunately, they do not look like the renderings, because the renderings look hokey. They look like a cross between Games Workshop and Essex. Good morning, Mr. Dirk. Or I guess it's morning for you. I don't know. I can't keep track of. You guys are like on a different day and everything. Enjoyed Persian battles. Still think 8-bow are not good in DBA. They aren't. They aren't. They shouldn't. They're the worst double element. They're the worst double element. The best double element is probably 8 spear. You know, because the first one costs 2 when it gets killed. Okay, but it's tough as nails, right? But an 8 bow is not tough as nails. And the problem is the 8. It'd be easy to fix. The 8 bow should not get destroyed by trading fire with a regular bow just as easily. It should be more resilient. You know, but hey, nobody asked me. You know what? It's not going to be a problem with the next rules I play. Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. Wow, that's really messed up. All right. 16 hours ahead. Wow. And it's a different season. Yeah, so hopefully he can get some correct picture. So, speaking of figures, I found somebody that makes certain figures I didn't know about. So I've been talking about doing colonials, or didn't say I bought any, but I've been talking about doing colonials in the last couple weeks. And I don't know if anything will come of it, but hey, it gives me a chance to surf and salivate over other figures, right? So one of the things, if I did colonials, I've always thought about, doing like a World War in the 1880s, 1890s. So one of the places that would go really well would be Afghanistan, or as I like to call it, Absurdistan, right? That'd be the alternative timeline. So you got to have Russians. So I'm looking, okay, who makes Russian colonials and 15s? And, you could probably use and they use the kep. By the way, what do you call those little hats that like they used in the American Civil War? Is it kepi or kepi? I'm just going to call them kepi until somebody tells me it's the other way around. But anyways, so they're wearing like little kepis or whatever. So like, okay, who makes them in 15 millimeter scale, right? And I'm talking about Russians, because everybody makes the British and so forth. There's a company called Rank and File, make Russo-Turkish war guys that would probably work. No pictures of them, but I suspect they're all one pose, so I wouldn't be interested in that. But then I noticed that there's a listing under Gladiator, of all people, under their colonials for Russian colonials in 15 millimeter scale. So on their website today, I posted, hey, any pictures of them? Because they actually do a pretty good job of having pictures of all the ranges. They just don't have anything on them. So have any of you guys seen them? Probably not, because they're kind of obscure. But 15 millimeter colonial Russians by Gladiator. So I'm getting the itch to do something a little bit different. So I'm signed up to play a couple of those type of games, 19th century games, on our next show. And if that's not as fun as it could be, then obviously they're going to play it in 28s. I have zero interest in doing anything in 28s. I'm just not going to live long enough to get enough of them painted. And man, they're expensive. Especially the plastic ones. If I want to buy something plastic, it needs to be freaking cheap. But anyhow, I may go back to painting some World War II stuff, which I don't need to buy anything for. I've got plenty of them. And of course, my World War IIs are in 20s. The one true scale, as somebody used to put on the miniatures page, which I've frequented now a couple times in the last 2 weeks. I haven't been there in years, probably even a decade. And there's just so much hogwash and nastiness. So I found another group that I didn't know about called the Lead Adventure Forum. Some of you guys are probably members there. And it must take them a freaking millennia to get your email approved for membership, because like 3 days have gone by and mine still isn't approved. So There are pics of them on a Colonial Facebook group, I think, probably cross-posted on a Lead Adventure too. I'll have a scout for them. The hat you mentioned is a kepi. No, it's spelled kepi. Okay, good. All right. The Colonial. I found that about the Lead Adventure forum about a week ago. I didn't know anything about it, and there seems to be quite a bit of activity on there. And I'm like, I'd like to post on there, and we have to accept your membership. Okay, all right. Well, how long does that freaking take? Are you gonna do a background check on me? I mean, it should come back fine. I mean, I can get into the Pentagon. I have, so. If that doesn't work out, then I might just paint some of my World War II stuff, just to do something a little bit different on the side. Lead Adventure is the place for colonial and pulp. Okay. Well, tell them to get on the ball, accept my membership. I don't put controversial stuff out there. Not only that, I use my real name. Like, why do I need to hide behind somebody's name, Check your porch. The FBI is looking for some lost armies from Historicon. Yeah. I'm way down on the FBI's list for anything, unfortunately. Or fortunately. Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing some Afghanistan gaming, but, not the modern one, the one that happened, hundreds of years ago. I think it's a good setting. Absurdistan. And keep rap if I understand. My reputation, or my lack of a reputation, precedes me. I stopped going on the miniatures page because there's so much turmoil, Probably about 2005, 2006 or whatever, they started adding all these boards like sports, food, politics. Why make a board for politics? Like, I don't want to know what people's politics are. Maybe there's one of you guys that I really like, they interact really well, and I find out you're a communist. I don't want to talk to you then. It's better that, you just find out. I just don't find out you're a communist. Your group plays Sword in the Flame, 28mm, Pathans versus British. I would recommend playing the Sudan as there is much larger variety of uniforms, troop types, plus you get Egyptians as well. I've played that one. I just don't like. I don't like the British versus the natives. I want to do British and other Europeans with natives that could potentially switch sides. Like, everybody has their own agenda. So I think that something like Afghanistan, Africa wouldn't be bad. I played Sword in the Flame. There's things I like about it, and there's things I hate about it. I hate that the basic group stand is 20. I think it's too many guys for a slow-ass painter for me. I don't want to paint 80 Brits or 80 Russians or something like that before I go on to something else. You know, because you got to have like 4 or 5 different groups or whatever. So I'm going to try that Blood and Steel and see if that scratches my itch. You know, then you only need to paint like 20 figures for one side. And then just paint multiple different sides. I don't know. In the meanwhile, I'm learning new history. I watched a couple things last weekend about the conflicts that the English had in Afghanistan that I didn't know about. And, you know. But I've actually played a Sudan game. I just wouldn't want to do it so Anglo-centric, okay? There's other nations, you know, there's other nations in it. So, I mean, just right off the bat, the big ones is you've got the French, the British, the Germans, and the Russians. Those 4 alone, you know, plus natives that obviously wouldn't have Germans and French in, you know, in Afghanistan, but I mean, how difficult is it to make up a bunch of mountains? So I've played a couple of them, and I would probably do it in a imaginations type of way, you know, inspired by real events. But again, I'm just kind of brainstorming here. I thought about it a long time ago, and little did I know how close the British and the Russians were to actually getting it on. I had no idea. I had no idea. And then I read about it. I'm like, holy shit. I was almost like prophetic. Well, it makes sense. I just said the Russians because they're on the other side of Afghanistan, you know. It just makes sense. But I like that idea of the Victorian time period wargaming with, you know, these conflicts that never happened, but they could have, with shifting alliances and stuff. But yeah, I played Sword to Flame, Sword in Africa. I even played one game of the sword and is it the cross and the gold, or the sword and the cross, or something like that? Conquistadors. But the problem that I have with that set of rules is, especially if you're doing it in 28s, I'm putting a lot of effort and painting a lot of troops for a game that has very little detail. You know, if I'm gonna paint bigger figures that are gonna take 4 times as long as painting these guys, then the rules should have 4 times as much detail as DBA does. That's my mentality. Maybe it's the wrong mentality. I go about it differently, or you know, but that's kind of, you know, I'm not gonna paint bigger figures with more detail to have like what is it, the thing 40K? I'd never play 40K. I've seen those works of art that people do. What, to have them on there for a second and then they're gone with buckets of dice? Like, it's just not my thing. That, it's make-believe. I mean, they got a lot of people writing fluff and stuff. It just doesn't inspire me, you know. Little bit of steampunk. It depends how light it is. You could do like a Jules Verne type of world. That would probably work. Don't you want to see me paint some Zouaves? Man, those guys would be fun. Talking a stupid French accent. Your search isn't turning up many pictures, unfortunately. I did come across Tin Soldier, UK's Italian colonials. I'm at the board game store here. We sometimes play in Her Majesty's name. It's skirmishy and can include a number of factions and bad guys. Wait, never mind, it's 28. You could do it 15. That game, the Blood and Steel that they just came out with, it's all Victorian, and it's I've watched every video they have on YouTube, and I know the guys that came up with it, so I signed up for 2 games that I'm not playing DBA in those 2 sessions just to play that. So we'll see. Like, can you imagine me play a skirmish force of Confederates? I'd have too much fun. Talking in that lingo, I gotta listen to that lingo every day. Of course, the big reason to do that would be to paint some more works of art by Dave Alsop. I just couldn't believe how much 28 millimeter plastics cost. I mean, I'm just floored. I was absolutely floored. This guy's got kind of a Rasputin kind of look to him. Maybe that's the right look to have. No, we need new black. Rasputin. Yeah, the games that are in 28, they're scrunched up range-wise a lot. So if you just paint 15s and just don't even change the range, it'd probably be more appropriate with the size of the figures. Anyways. So I'll give it a shot. If it doesn't scratch my... if it looks like it wouldn't build a good narrative, because that's really what I'm interested in, is another period that just creates a lot of freaking laughs. If it's too basic and too much like on autopilot, then maybe I'll start painting my Resistance figures for my French and go at it that way. Which I have them handy. I have them very handy. Don't make me pull them out. I have plenty of Germans. I ain't got to paint no. I ain't got to paint no Germans. But I would redo the stands because the stands are very 90s. Everything else is good on them except the stands. Stands are very old school looking. The basing, I should say. But all those 20 millimeter figures I have are mostly ones that are out of production. They don't make them anymore, unfortunately. Good thing I got one of each pack. Steampunkish campaigns to take place in London and Afghanistan. Bad guys are Russian scientists counting countless Pathans as missions. Well, just the natives, just the Afghani natives, you could have like freaking 4 sides, you know. You could have 4 sides. Easily. You know, you could use Franco-Prussian Prush for the Prussians, for the Germans, and just paint them a little differently. Or paint them the same. Paint them for Franco-Prussian War and, you know, no big deal. Hey, Rhett. I was very hesitant to join that Facebook group because I am already a member of too many. So I made a deal. I'm like, I joined it, but I kicked myself off of to 12 other groups. So I actually cleaned up my group thing. So there's many groups that I either don't frequent or that I post on and get zero traction for the stuff that I do. So, you know, that was the way I worked it. There's a couple of groups I was members of that I thought there'd be a lot of traction, and there just isn't. Everybody like screaming, hey, check this out, and then nobody checks it out. I'm like, okay, well, I'm wasting my time cross-posting things, And maybe it's just tournament stuff isn't popular anymore because of I'm sure lots of people have had bad experiences with tournament play. I haven't. I just think tournament play is a way to you play with your own toys that you brought. That's why I do it. Not because I'm always competitive when I'm playing the game. Why wouldn't you be? But not like I'm not a win at all cost person. Like I want a good fight. I don't want to just stomp somebody. So I don't know, maybe I'm the exception. Maybe other people don't want that, but I just want to play with the stuff that I'm creating. Otherwise, why am I even creating it? That's the way I look at it anyways. This guy needs like color shit on his horse. Oh, he's probably going to be the one. What did he say? This guy was going to go with him? No, this guy was going to go with him, and then this guy was going to go with him. So I don't want to use that same color strapping. All right, let me go with like a grayish. Let me go with something grayish. Or, let's see, can I get away with doing something like this? No, it's the color of the horse. Can't do that. Let's do gray. Must go online team meeting in 10 minutes. Ugh. How's that one? I've seen that morale patch that said, I just survived another meeting that should have been an email. Cafe calls. I'll be right back. Although, to be completely honest with you, I'm not a fan of emails anyways. So a lot of people send out emails that ask 8 different questions, and they send them to 12 different people, and somebody answers half of them, and then the next person doesn't see their response and answers the same stuff that got answered. It's a waste of, brain cells most of the time. 15 viewers, holy moly. Salud. Excellent. And it's just regular coffee. It's not Irish coffee. That's a good way to get nothing done. Give me some liquor. You're like, I won't even care. Is this the color I want to go with? I think so. You keep it different from the pants. Let's go maybe a little bit. What color is this? Is this like a Russian gray or something like that? Green. Oh, it's a nasty color. Let's use that one. These are nasty people that don't wash. Scythians too, right? Supposedly didn't wash for religious reasons. Here's a good reason to be an atheist. When your religion calls you for not washing, screw that. I'm taking a shower. religion calls for you to do crazy shit, be an atheist. You need to sacrifice your children like hell. Found the email. Essex canceled the order. No Timurids for me. So they caught the mistake. I wonder how many of those they mailed out before they found that. Mr. Heller, welcome. Welcome back. I actually had that Essex Army pack of the Timurids a while ago, and I sold it on eBay. I thought I was never going to get around to it. So I don't mind Essex figures. I just want to pick them out. You know, I don't mind having buy the packs individually and do my own makeup. I did that in. I bought figures for Kingdom of Granada and medieval Spanish. Those guys were definitely on my to-do list. Both of them. And I've got some figures from other manufacturers I'm gonna work in. It's unusual that I'll sit there and only make an army from one manufacturer, because usually I'll like build an army that will add on to figures that I already have. And just for extra variety. I wouldn't do that with like Roman Legionnaires or something like that, but other stuff, absolutely. I guess that's what that armored elephant's supposed to be, is a Timurid elephant. Well, he's going to be a white Hun elephant. And for whatever's worth, they're both from the same part of the world. So, like I said, I'm not going to make mine metallic. It's going to be like leather scaled. Antiochus, welcome. Do I have any Blue Moon? You've been eyeing their Crusaders. I do. I have their. I have quite a few. I have Landsknecks. I have, and I'm talking about ones I have painted, and I have like early Italian Wars French Knights. Painted. They paint up really well. The only thing I dislike about them is that their infantry foot figures. Oh, and I have some Spanish pikemen also for the early Italian Wars. Their infantry figures are kind of cankly. Their ankles are really fat, which I guess is okay, but I happen to like them. Try printing up some 15s, test the quality. There he is, Mr. Hamilton. There's something that I was going to ask you. I forgot what it was. Must have not been that incredible. Oh, well, maybe I'll think about it later. Oh, Ben, if you're still on, yeah, I've played that Conquistador game quite a bit. It's fun. It has no replay value, but that's okay. It's actually pretty challenging. It's actually pretty challenging. The combat part's pretty challenging. You notice the fat ankles on their Crusader spearmen. Yeah. Yeah, you know, a bigger problem than that. Like, the Crusaders all look good. They just came out recently with some Sarmatians, okay? And their Sarmatian foot, some of the poses are just really weird. They're like, I don't know, they're like spread out to, they just don't look right. But I still like them, you know? It is fun for a playthrough. How late am I to your session? An hour and 10 minutes in. At least it won't break. That's true. Yeah. Let me show you some of my Landsknecht guys. Although keep in mind, they're going to look like shit on this video. Because video, like, dumbs things down quite a bit. And the French knights should be over here, shouldn't they? Well, they should be over here. Whether or not they're over here is a different matter. Okay, here's some Spanish pikemen. Have you guys take a look at these until... One front, one back. They don't look very cankily there. Where else? Is all the other stuff in the other case? I think it is. All right, we need some Landsknecht guys and French horse. One of these armies I've not used a whole lot. I use these guys as a French Ordnance B. And these flags are all Pete's flags. This is a plug for Pete's flags. His stuff is awesome. His stuff is really, really good. See, look at this horse on this end. He's very cankly. It's not too bad. We'll get the Landsknecht guys. I actually like these figures a lot, the Landsknecht guys, because it's hard to find good ones. This is 2 stands of them. I actually have 4 of these guys painted. See how well these pins work? Yes, I've measured them so they'd be kind of the right length. Another flag by Pete's Flags. Ah, fuck it. I'm bringing the other 2 as well. Okay, this is all the Blue Moon guys I have that are painted. Who else would do this? Nobody. That's who. Oh, the lighting's all wrong. Oh, well. Yeah, and they even have these built-in little striped pants. I mean, they're ribbed. I just painted the frickin' ribs. Let's see. They're totally compatible with Old Glory 15s. Absolutely. All right. What's really a pain with this slash clothing is usually the color that's underneath is lighter. And that just goes against the grain of everything that I paint. So you got something that's in the shadows, like, say, this guy in the end. The thing that's hidden is a lighter color than the one that's on top. That's just really just counterintuitive. But they paint up pretty well. Again, they look better in person than you're seeing right there. They're just, the lighting just all screwy. Wonkish. Here's the Spanish. They even give you a guy with a turban on. Don't worry, we made sure that he says his Hail Marys every night. Got to be careful with those interlopers. And fast pike and that. Here's the other stand. Oh, we have some mixed figures in here. Okay, because this guy is a minifigs guy. This guy in the end is an awesome figure. So I don't let people talk trash about minifigs because some of the minifig stuff just turns out really, really well. And yeah, there's some minifigs guys in here. Yep, they're not all like this guy on this end. This is a minifigs guy. And here's another minifigs guy in there as well. I find it really difficult to take something like nights that are really busy like this and not try to give them maximum variety. Now, one thing I do not like about Blue Moon, look at the thickness of these damn lances. So I had to paint like a fake little ridge in there at the bottom to kind of make it look a little bit better. But they're just fat frickin' lances. I just don't like them. Look at the minifigs lance. This guy here, the blue one, that's like perfect. It's thicker than normal, but it tapers nicely and everything. That's, yeah. And here's the French King. I'm a little too zoomed out for that to be able to see all that stuff on here. Man, the lighting's all wrong. Oh well. I'm getting a lot of kickback from the stuff. But these flags are all, they're not hand painted. They're literally from Pete's flags. So if you want some nice flags and Pete makes them, I don't know if the guy's name's Pete, but he's awesome. So what's this? Oh, hold on a second. What's this? Nothing worse than horses breaking at the ankle. You know the only horses I had a problem with? Essex. Because the bases on them are very diminutive. And it happened with the horses for my Valakians. There's some horses that almost are on a tiny little peg, and you go to try to move them and they'll like shift on you, and I almost break them off. That's not good. Thick lances, yep. Minifig Distributors was in Aurora, Colorado. He ran the business into the ground and disappeared. Yep, I know who you're talking about. I don't know, I've just heard rumors. Minifigs used to be carried by Modeler's Mart. Used to be carried by Modeler's Mart back in the 90s. And yeah, I'm a fan of minifigs, and I've ordered from them in the last 10 years and did not have a good experience with them. It took forever to get my order. They got it wrong. They had a ton of flash, but I still love their figures. I like the style that they're done in. I like their faces. They're very diminutive. They're not like this big honking face with these extreme features that you have to try to hope like, man, everybody in the army is all weird looking like that. All right. Let me go put these on a tray or something, and I'll get them out of the way so I don't have to stop and put them away back in my thing. But this is... have the Old Glory Army card. If you're talking to me, no. I don't like the system of paying more and then hopefully like enticing you to buy more shit. That doesn't really work for me. Like Sam's Club, okay? Do I go to Sam's Club? Yes, but I don't have my own card. It just seems weird. I don't like the idea of paying for something first and then hope to God you use it. It doesn't really work on me. Of course, I'm not really a gambler, and Caliver distributes minifigs now. Colorado guy, the business from Modeler's Mind. Yeah, you're talking about Tom Dye. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I've heard, but you know, I think it's really difficult to run a miniatures business. You know, and what I don't understand is people that get into something and they want to do it for the money, not for the love of it. And here's an example I'm going to give you. People that collect baseball cards, right? Makes sense if you're into baseball. If you don't give a shit about baseball, why are you collecting baseball cards? You know, I just think that, I don't know, maybe I just look at things in a different way. But, you know, that's like, if I'm gonna work on rules, if I'm gonna make my own set of rules, I'm gonna make them for free. Because I want people to play them. You know, I don't want to take somebody else's rules, for instance, and then charge for them. You know? Yeah, I think they process the orders. I don't know. I did not have a good experience. I did get all my stuff, but it was a pain in the ass. But, which is unusual because I've always had good service from everybody in the UK. With that exception. And the figures were extremely flashy. Nothing I couldn't fix, but flashy. Used to call and order direct from Tom Dye. Yeah, all I know is what I've heard, but he hasn't done anything bad to me personally, so I don't know. Okay, where were we? So anyway, so that's Blue Moon. So yeah, I saw some of their, they had like Muslim commanders. They had they had a lot of their Muslim and Seljuk Turk figures, and I was tempted, but I'm like, I'm not going to work on them anytime soon. I got a lot of Seljuk Turks from museum that I got them really, really cheap when somebody at Historicon was selling them for like $1 a pack. So I bought a ton of them. And I don't know if I would want to get around to them, but I didn't feel bad about spending $20 on that. You know, I got all the Seljuk Turks I could probably, you know, stand. And, you know, I'll work them into whenever. That was before freaking Luke went and bought a Seljuk Turk army. And the only reason he bought it, he didn't buy it to spite me, is, you know, he's not a painter. So he can only buy whatever people are selling. And if people aren't selling an army he wants, then he has to kind of settle for what is being sold. And, well, there you go. Just ordered some 2 dragons off minifig site, paid through Caliber. Oh. Yeah, that was back in the 90s when we'd go on a road trip down to Emperor's Outpost, and I think I only got to go to Modeler's Mart twice, but I went to Emperor's Outpost at least 7 times. Over there in a real rough part of town of Tampa. Off of Florabraska, if I remember correctly. Or where was the Florabraska exit? Anyways, go in the daytime when when most of the bad guys are asleep. Those were the days. I'd still do that. I'd still, if there was a place that had miniatures, I'd do a road trip. That's what I used to do all the time. Like, oh, we're traveling to a new... What am I doing? Not paying attention. I already have that color. I don't need that color. Hey, moron, pay attention. It just looked like the same color back here. This one. Actually, it's... Here it is, hiding in the back. You got shot at on a game night? That's not good. Florida Avenue. So it was the Florida Brass Gags that may have been what it was. Hey, you guys seen Kevin Krause's video of his basement setup of his gaming? I have not. I'm going to look it up, though. It's my homework assignment. We don't have basement. I've never lived in a house that has a basement. And I think I've only been in someone's basement maybe 3 times in my entire life. I've just never... I don't live in a place where they have any. They don't have any in Florida. Kevin Krause. Never heard of him. Never heard of her. Kevin Krause. I've seen people's game areas that I guess I would be jealous, but I'm not jealous of other players. I'm really blessed with the folks that I play with. I really am. I just wish we weren't playing in a freaking hot box. It was freaking 90-something degrees. That's my only gripe, but I got... The people I play with are like second to none. I wouldn't trade them. Even if they don't wear shoes all the time. And now that I know that Mitch is half Scottish, I know he's not a Hatfield. He's actually a McCoy. Krause collection, okay. He only had it up one day, then removed it? No, I didn't catch it. I actually missed, and I'm subscribed to their channel. I missed day 3 or the 3rd episode of Little Wars' Pyrrhus thing. Although I've been kind of disappointed with it. I thought it was going to be better than it was. So, dude has over 200,000 15mm figures. You save up the YouTube ad money and get Mitch a silent AC for the shed. Pfft, that chance. He's got no insulation. It's loud as shit. I've come close to saying, fuck it, I'm not playing again until it's cooler. I've come close. It is freaking hot as shit. You know, what I used to do when we gamed here, I'd come home from work, eat, shower, and then we'd film here. The first couple of videos were, well, there's several of them that were here. But then what happens is Mitch's wife works, and he's got to be around like for his daughter and stuff. So, not that she's real needy, but, she is underage and stuff like that. So, don't want to leave her in a house alone. So, but yeah, here it's 72 degrees here and ceiling fans, and it would be colder if if it was affordable, but it's not. So. That was the one thing about Historicon was nice. It was the temperature was it was cool in that hall. It definitely was cool. And I work in a place that's already too hot as well, so I hate having to relive that shit. And I've been putting up with it for almost 30 freaking years, so. But then you guys would bitch, oh, you don't do any videos April through October. YouTube ad money? Yeah, it'd probably take me, how long would it take to... That place has no insulation. It's basically like a shed you put your lawnmower in. They turned, I think it was somebody's living quarters there before when he bought the place. And And would you believe when the air conditioning's running, it doesn't make much of a difference? It's still incredibly hot. I don't know how he survived in Illinois, honestly. He's always cold. Always. And I'm always hot. Yin and yang, baby. But the important thing is that you live with the people that feel the same way. Like, if my wife was one of those that, like, it's too cold, I'd have to get a divorce. There's no way I'd put up with that shit. It would just, it'd be like torture, you know? It'd be like going to jail and you didn't get to murder anybody. Oh, wait, maybe I sold that wrong. No, I don't know how some, and I hear about that all the time. Like, oh, my wife and I, like, opposite temperatures. I don't think you could live with somebody like that. I honestly don't think that, I don't think that that's, I don't think that's a solution. We bad guys are always out at night and barefoot. Wish we had historical conventions in Canada. No. As they say in Canadian, sorry about that. I return, who's talking bad crap about me? You're not worth talking about, man. If you want people to talk about you, Nordic, you have to use your real name. Rick uses his real name and he's not afraid. I did have a question, Wayne, but I don't remember what it was. It wasn't something prophetic. I'm sorry. I'm sure it'll next time. You're on here frequently enough that I forget exactly what it was. I need to take a little notepad to write something. Remember to ask Wayne about marshmallows or whatever the hell it was. It was obviously it wasn't that, but so yeah, living in Florida, you know, I mean, January, February, December's a mixed bag. March, especially February. February, it's awesome. So, you know, and I always like to say, first person that complains about being too cold, they're getting punched in the freaking nose. I woke up one morning and it was 53 degrees in the house and no windows were open. You know how much you'd have to pay in air conditioning to have it 53 degrees in the house and it's free? I want that year round. You know? Oh, daughter's back. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. All right, we got about 30 minutes or so. Then we're going to do some daughter stuff. Taking out some bandit camps in Skyrim. That sounds like grinding to me. Bumping grinding. Thick lances. Here he is. Real name is Sir not appearing in this film. There you go. Yes, we are nice to a fault. Oh, it's not about being nice. It's about apologizing for stuff that's not even your fault. Sorry about that. You are. Just about every Canadian that I've met is nice. Just about. Anyone know the difference between the minifigs new and the old style horses? I don't. Will Legend Hiroka ever open again? Yeah, I never got a chance to paint any of them. They're beautiful. And the painter that they have for them, that's what you do, folks. You get your miniatures that look like that, and you get that guy to paint them. You ever encountered the Smuggler's Cove next to Whiterun? Seems like a dumb place for that. Well, I can't talk about Skyrim. We can talk about Assassin's Creed and Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto. What else? I haven't played those things in a long time, though. Has anybody ever played State of Decay? Other than me. I've never encountered anybody that's played State of Decay. And that game is awesome. You're in Pine Watch right now. Gotta love having I can't. They're still removing all the Confederate statues on Monument Avenue. You know, I'm actually okay with them removing them, but I'm not okay with them destroying them. You only play good games. Psst, well, you said you played Skyrim. I've never played Skyrim, okay, but I played one of those ones, the first Elder Scroll, and I went into a town, and everybody looked like shit, and every building looked the same, and I'm like, I'm bored. And everybody's like very gray looking. I'm like, yeah, and I'm okay with fantasy stuff. I really am. I prefer fantasy to science fiction. You utterly despise the fact that people are history, deletion, and removing Confederate statues. I'm okay with them being removed. I'm not okay with them being destroyed because they are works of art. I mean, they're like, you're going to destroy that and put it in a museum or, you know, whatever. I understand not wanting to glorify, you know, people that, but, I mean, I get that. I'm not okay with them being melted down. All those sculptures are incredible works of art, you know, compared to freaking Picasso, which is, you know, and yes, I understand that Picasso made some things that were good, but a lot of it is just like, I'm sorry, shitty. Sorry, and he was a communist. Double whammy. I read about him recently, like several articles. Like I couldn't go to sleep, and like people trying to justify that. Oh, it was too easy to paint things that were well. He wanted something more. Suck it. A.P. Hill is buried under the monument. The removal could be problematic. Yeah, I could see that being a problem. First Elder Scrolls came out in 1990 and Skyrim came out in 2011. Doesn't sound good for Legend of Heroica. Sounds like the three nephews aren't really into keeping it going. I hope they just sell the molds. Poor AP and his graves has been moved several times already. If I remember, his wife wanted him to be buried with her elsewhere. Yeah, that could be a problem. I could see it upsetting some people, you know, looking at Stone Mountain and there's people on there, but put them in a museum. I mean, all those, I mean, those sculptures, those were done the other day, but like the Greek stuff, that's just incredible. I don't know if that really is what Julius Caesar looked like, but with those freaking tools that they had, that's just incredible. That's absolutely incredible. We could do a whole episode on talking about art appreciation. I took one class of it in college as an elective or something like that. In the beginning of the class, the teacher's like, well, you can't say that it's good art or bad art. And I'm like, well, I can tell you the person didn't have any talent. Because there's stuff I don't like, okay? Like, I don't like things that are extremely impressionistic. And I don't mind some impressionistic stuff, but you can't compare Kandinsky to Velázquez or Rembrandt. I mean, it's just, now, I don't want still art by Rembrandt in my house because it's not what I want in my house, but I'm sorry, you can't compare the two things. So, anyhow. But, like, we have an art museum here at the University of Florida, and you go in there, and it's just, I don't know if you want to laugh or cry. But a lot of this stuff is they got it from donations. They're not going to donate a Rembrandt, you know, obviously. So. Robert E. Lee's monument statue is now in Richmond's Black History Museum. That's interesting. But I see Confederate flags not very often anymore. They don't bother me. But my people have never been owned that I know of. Maybe by the Romans, but of course I could say probably everybody's people been owned by somebody at some point. All right. We need to do. Let's close this back up. Let's see. That doesn't bother me as much as some other things. That doesn't bother me as much as, like, say, on Facebook, you can't put anything that's even humorous with anything with, you know, the that involves the people of what did the little girl call them? The crooked spider people. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, then you need to see The Sound of Music. Damn it! Should have seen it as a kid like 50 times. But you can have every style in this thing on there. So. And his horse Traveler pees on the carpet. Okay. We have that in miniatures with Dam Balinchu Trend. Blanchitsu? Interesting. What martial art do you know? Blanchitsu. Sounds like some kind of white thing, blanche. Trend where people paint everything drab, then wash it a bunch of times and sloppily base it with mud and grass getting onto the figure. Okay. I don't know what that is, but I understand slavery is bad, but something that existed since the dawn of humans should make a fuss like people of 300 years of slavery is idiotic. Yeah. Well, you know, it's like, I'm a World War II gamer, right? And we always had swastikas, and a modeler. I want swastikas on my planes. I don't celebrate those frickin' crooked bastards. But I want them to be accurate. Grimdark is Blanchitsku. I'm getting education here. Perfect. I love this. This is my homework assignment napkin over here. But, you know, I'm not, it's kind of wet. I'm not going to be able to write it. Blanchitsu and Grimdark. Okay. There's actually, talking about, what did you say? People paint everything drab. There was a guy, back when I was on the miniatures page, this was a long time ago. This was probably 20 years ago. This guy had painted, you know how if you've listened to me long enough, you know how I don't like black and white movies. But there's a guy that painted a whole army like it was black and white. It was awesome. It was freaking awesome. That's a whole lot of work. Blanche did most of the early 40K paintings. Some guy named Blanche, huh? Okay. Never played any 40K anything. Never have. You know, if the people that I played with were into it, yeah, I'd probably be tempted to play that. But I'm not really a fan of even everybody's doing it. Even Lion Rampant. They released another second edition. Oh, all right, nobody's buying our books. Oh, let's buy more books. I don't know. Maybe that's not the reason behind that one, but I'm not a fan of throwing money at the problem. It doesn't mean I'm frugal. I don't like to. I want to purchase something and feel good about what I spent my money on. You know, none of us can have everything, so we need to be smart with our money. I mean, I think so. There's nothing worse than having buyer's remorse. And I rarely have buyer's remorse. But $40K does it. Well, $40K just, Games Workshop, they just stopped supporting stuff. So there was 3 games that I looked to be really interested in. And before I even got into them, thankfully, they stopped producing them. And that was Man of War, Dark Future, and Epic. So now I don't care what they dangle in front of me. I'm not biting because they're not supporting their own stuff. And I'm a super slow painter, so you know I don't want somebody like we don't do that anymore. You know, one of your favorite World War II movies, black and white, Sink to Bismarck. Yeah, I've seen that one. That's one of the black and white movies I've seen. If I remember correctly, the ship models aren't bad. Lion Rampant, keep pushing the move. So it's kind of like, so maybe it's you, Rick, because you had the same problem with the Bronco. Oh, here we go. Hold on a second. Oh, let me go back. John Blanche. I think people that do Grimdark just do it as an excuse to not really attempt to paint miniatures right. Would have loved to see the Golden Girls sitting around a table playing miniatures war game. Oh, that Blanche? Just don't like the stupid speed paints. Well, I don't need to use them. That's like going in the wrong direction. Wrong Blanche. Golden Girls, and what was the other show that was popular back then? Designing Women. Another women's show. Nah, no thanks. Isn't that what the name of that show was? That was the one that was in Atlanta or something like that. Wasn't Blanche a streetcar named Desire? Despite great battles of Julius Caesar Deluxe from GMT Games. In defense of Lion Rampant 2nd edition, basically the next print run with all the extra articles written since thrown in, and it's without the old Osprey page limit. I actually like it. I actually like the game, and if I wasn't, dare I say, old, I'd never feel old, but it's more like just some things aren't worth doing. I would give it a shot with stands, you know, and you could just mark off casualties and stuff like that. I actually think I like the press your luck mechanism. I don't like the artificial, like, infantry have to be 6 or 8 units or whatever they are. But, you know, as long as you're not playing in a tournament, you do whatever the hell you want, you know. I don't know if I'll play another tournament game after this one. If I work on something, I don't think I'm interested in doing tournaments. Just do historical battles. And they can be unbalanced as long as they, kind of give the flavor of what the real battle is and just play both sides. Done. I think I'm more interested in that. It's because some of these lopsided battles are really cool. Sometimes you really got to think outside the box. Well, I splurged and bought myself a new bronze. I had the first bronze ever since I started painting Ancient. So I've had it for about almost 20 years. So it's about time to buy another one. Of course, I'm only using one little at a time, so. You now have a group of 3 players eager to play. Well, don't run them off. Don't run them off. I'd actually be okay, and it's thanks to you guys, if I moved to some place like North Dakota. I just mentioned some out of the way place and didn't have anybody to game with. I'd be okay. I think that I could make videos playing with myself or whatever. Yeah, take that for whatever you want. But you know what I mean. It'd be all right, Because most of the time I'm spending is painting. So as long as I've got some painting company, I'm good to go. That doesn't mean, I'm going anywhere, but just saying. But I didn't have anybody local to game with for almost 10 years. Consistently. And if the next 10 years I didn't have anybody local to game with, I'd probably be okay. I'd probably be all right. Man, this white dries out so freaking fast. It also doesn't help I've got this fan on high, but comfort's a priority for me. Oh man, I've missed all kinds of shit. Let's see. Rather poor choice of words. Doesn't change what anybody thinks about me. Sometimes you say a thing at the right time because it provides a reaction. You have way too many 15 millimeter to go back to board games or online gaming. Yeah. I think 10 mil is a good scale. If there was figure variety. You have a man cave with 18 foot by 6 foot war game table and still no room to field my painted 15 millimeter armies. Wow. Nice man cave. I know some folks that attempt to paint miniatures, but then they don't have a dedicated miniature painting area. Well, whoa. No way. That's a no-go. You can get anything done. By the time you get everything set up, it's like, oh, wife says I got to put everything away. I've always had a painting area. It was part of my room growing up. And then, moved out. There was usually a separate room that was only the painting room. This room is the biggest bedroom right now. I wish the window wasn't where it was, but it's not design your own house show. But I'm not really going to gripe. That's bigger than your bedroom. 6 by 18? Well, let's see. Well, that would be a weird shape. Unless you're on a cruise ship. Hey, there'd be a place to live. Sign me up. 6 by 8 would be the same as... I'm not going to do it. It's 6 by 18. I'm not doing math this late. Can I come live under the table? I'll behave and paint any models you drop. Oh. And Ben's over there in the UK, so he's thinking 6 meters by 18 meters. No, 6 by 18. 6 is good. You could reach the middle okay. That's 3 feet each way. I had the first when I had the condo, I had my loft, which is basically like the master bedroom. That was our gaming room, and I had, what are those tables? 3 foot, or maybe they're 30-inch by 8 feet. I had 4 of them because we used to play. So I had almost an 8 by 8 table we could play naval miniatures on. And unfortunately, that was around 1996. And unfortunately, people started petering out about that time. So we only got to use it a handful of times. But it was great. You just leave stuff set up there, you know? Okay, I need to find the color horse that I used for this one because I missed kind of a spot on it. So, because this isn't my first rodeo, it's one of these two. I don't think. Looks like it's this one. Yeah, naval wargaming takes up a lot of freaking space with no terrain on it. I remember one time we were playing at this guy's house, and he also had like an 8 by 8 foot place. And we were playing a Mediterranean battle, and basically a fleet action. And the Italians had... We played Italian that time. So we had a couple old battleships and a couple of cruisers and destroyers and stuff. And we started in one corner because you started like kind of catty corner. And we split our force 2 different ways. So like one battleship went that way with some cruisers, and I went the other way with some cruisers. And by the end of the game, like we started basically like in this corner, and the British were in the opposite corner. And let's just pretend this is square. And I went this way, and my other player went this way. And by the end of the game, we were at these 2 corners. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool how that worked out. But we traveled some distance in that game, but, you know, it was an all-day kind of affair. That was pretty cool. Rick, what temperature do you keep your gaming room in? You said people come to your gaming room and they complain it's too cold. I like to punch. Tell them I'm punching them in the nose. Virtually punching them in the nose. I would love to play in a gaming room where I have to wear long sleeves or I'm cold. Because I love wearing long sleeves. Big fan. Okay, so this is the color that we think it was, or it's going to be close enough. there's like this one muscle that I miss painting. It's right here. Just overlooked it. They bring hoodies and jackets or wrap themselves in a blanket. What the hell's a blanket? It's like 68 down there. You lucky bastard. That's awesome. Now, I'll be honest with you. If you don't have ceiling fans, it's got to be colder. Like when I go to a hotel, I turn it down as low as it'll go because I live with ceiling fans all the time with water circulation. No, with air circulation. And so, you don't have ceiling fans. It needs to be colder. So, yeah, 68, that's not too cold. That's just not affordable. Like, even if I could afford it here, I'd freeze outside unit. I got to turn it up to 77 when we're not in the house. And then I don't ever go lower than 72. You just can't, You'll go broke and you'll break the unit outside. Now that also means in the wintertime, heater doesn't exist. It's got to be. I can count on one hand how many times we've turned the heater on in 20 years being here. Yeah, wear a freaking hat. Wear some clothes. $65, yeah. I love wearing long sleeves. I do. You just can't. Be sweltering. Now, I've actually run into lunatics. Okay? And there may be some science behind this, but I'm still going to call them lunatics. That have been in 95 plus weather outside and they're wearing long sleeves because they claim that you start to sweat and the sweat keeps you cool. I'm sorry. I want air circulation over my skin if I can get it, Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right, bear with me, folks. Let me see if I can take care of it from here or I gotta go somewhere else. Yeah, I gotta go somewhere else. Well, I hope this person gets cancer, whoever the hell they are. I don't do that to their stuff, so why are they screwing with me? It's gonna take me a little while to get this to catch up here. I think this is the page I gotta do it from. One of Tony sponsors. Nah. What do these jokers get from this? Hold on a second here. Why is this acting glitchy? Jesus, what do those people get from that crap? It's probably a robot. Well, in that case, I hope to get ass cancer. During winter, I'll sit under blankets because I don't want to turn on the heat and never wear a hoodie and beanie just to keep warm. Yeah, well, what you do is not spamming Nordic. I just don't see how that benefits anybody anything. If you want to go see porn, go to Pornhub. Everybody knows where it is. Just go there. End of story, right? Go some specific channel. Suikoden. Is that how you say it? You just beat Suikoden. Japanese, the language of constipation. love Japanese shit. I mean, I love their vehicles, but those jokers don't. I haven't found an anime that's worth a damn. Nordic, how can you include that list? Tell me the claim factor. Okay, we need to do. Let's get the buff color out. Buffy Bufflestein. Where is it? What's the J part in RPG? Junior role-playing game? I like that one video game. What was it called? Dungeon Siege. I never got a chance to finish it because it came out just far enough that my computer wasn't fast enough to run it really well. But it was really cool because you basically picked, you know, whether you wanted to be male or female. Yes, there were no other choices. You couldn't be an antelope, you know, or identify as a tree and play the game. You just picked male or female, and you just started doing shit. And watch any movie from Hayao Miyazaki, Japanese role-playing game. So the Japanese have super freaking cool history with samurai and stuff, but they suck at making movies. You know, they're like, they could have so much stuff that would be really interesting, and you know, they do schoolgirls with machine guns and stuff like that. And I'm not into Japanese girls like you are, so you know. German cars here and one Korean car. I really like that Volkswagen Arteon. That's a beautiful vehicle. I don't know if it's worth damn, but it's a beautiful vehicle. But I can't have a German car because I want a stick shift, and there's no stick shifts here. Well, I'm sure they make stick shift cars, but you know, I'm not a high roller. So, in a perfect world, I'll never have another vehicle that is automatic, and the only reason I have one is because I can't drive them. Yeah, whatever. Now we got an extra vehicle, so. My first car was a stick shift, and I hope to never have another non-stick shift car because they're fun as crap. They are fun as crap. Yeah, I'm the one guy that likes stick shifts and coupes. And that's like the two things that everybody's against. Oh, I want an SUV. Well, that's no fun to drive. Screw that. Princess Mononoke. Mononoke. My favorite cartoon growing up was, I guess, the earliest. I don't know if it's the earliest, but one of the earliest anime, and that was. It was put up here as in the United States as Battle of the Planets, and I loved it as a 7 and 8 year old. I thought it was cool as shit. But they changed it around for the U.S. audience because it was apparently too violent. So you added all this extra stuff that was. They edited a bunch of the stuff out and they added this filler in it. Of course, we're talking like late 70s. Confession, I never learned to drive a stick shift. Well, you know, if you didn't, I didn't know how to drive one. Because, you know, I'm talking like when I'm 18, 19, 20. I didn't have one in my house. We didn't have one. How the hell am I going to learn something I didn't know? But the first vehicle I ever bought had a stick shift, and I didn't know how to drive it. So literally, the guy that sold me the car was teaching me how to do it. And it was sink or swim. And I never regretted it. And I had that car 11 years. 11 years? 9 years. I had that car 9 years. And then I spent, what would it be? 10 years with an automatic, maybe 11 years with an automatic, because, you know, the wife. And hopefully I'll never have another automatic again. So, won't see me in a Tesla. Our new cultural warmer is claiming cartoons are too violent. Yep. Exactly. Well, I don't know that it was the Japanese that... I don't know if it was the Japanese that said it was too violent. It was just the, you know, the U.S. or maybe warmongers too. Whatever. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really, really cool. At the time. The problem is I don't like a lot of the plot of a lot of them. They're like, you know, you have such a cool history, and then it's like none of it ever has to do with any of it. Any I've seen, anyways. Or some of the art I just don't really care for. Cartoons should always have better art than you can draw. Like, if I'm able to draw better than that, why am I watching it? Like, why am I watching SpongeBob or... well, we used to watch in college, Ren and Stimpy. It was freaking horrible art. Well, that's the point. Okay, Picasso. All right, we need a color for the reins on this guy. Yeah, this color will do. You meant the U.S. as warmongers, yeah. We had to learn from that shit, right? I'm watching, what show was I was recommended to watch The Terminal List, right? And I'm having trouble watching it because my attitude with what we've been doing for a long time, and I've just kind of felt in the last 15 years, it's just been like a total freaking waste. And I'm just like, I don't want to see this anymore. I don't want to see that we're out, you know, wasting our time doing the shit that we've been doing for the last a long time. And I don't want to see those shows anymore. Like I watched, I don't know, 6, 7 seasons of Homeland, and I thought Homeland was pretty good. I don't want to see shows like that anymore. They just bug me. You know? I don't want to find out that we're perpetually in all these stupid wars that are never going to be solved. That, you know, it's just dumbish. Can we learn from our mistakes? Nope. Nope, because there's people behind it all that are up to no good. Okay, enough current events. You paid for the car repairs. You're asked to back up to a wall, to a Volkswagen. I put it into a wall. I mean, if that's how we're going to fight wars, then we don't need to go to war anymore. Done. Lost Battalion and the Wind That Shakes the Barley. Picked up 2 movies for 50 cents. You may like. The Lost Battalion. Why does that sound familiar? The Lost Battalion. The Wind That Shakes the Barley. That doesn't, that sounds like Wag the Dog or something. Lost Battalion. Let's read up on those. Were you the one that recommended that movie that was really good, The Forgotten Battle or whatever? I really enjoyed that movie. I really enjoyed that. I want to say it was you that recommended that. Irish War of Independence and the Irish Civil War. Well, I don't know anything about that, so I'm willing to learn. The Lost Battalion. I still haven't seen the sword, the duelist or whatever, the duelists. Lost Battalion is about Whitley's battalion in Aragon. It's not the one with that's not the one with Ricky Schroeder in it, is it? That's the one with Ricky Schroeder. I watched part of it. I just get on my soapbox. I just don't. I think World War I was stupid to begin with, and it was even dumber for the U.S. to get involved in it. I understand why it was done and everything, but my alternative history. What happens if the Germans win World War I? Well, the best thing that could have happened with World War I, other than it never happened to begin with, which everybody has got to agree that would have been better, is that the Germans just would have won in the first push and taken Paris. That's got to be because after 4 years, I mean, you can't say that that the Germans are going to be really benign after taking all those casualties. If it would have been the other way, what kind of stuff would have been done the other way? Marco is supposed to be an EN at the end of some of the movie reviews and the dangers of driving a stick shift car. Yeah. Yeah, World War I was stupid. And hindsight being 2020, anything you can do to prevent World War II would have been an improvement. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine how it could have been any worse. I just don't see how it's possible. Well, that's the good thing. And you guys can kind of set the, I mean, I wasn't planning on talking about that, but, What could be worse than World War II, World War III, I guess. I don't know. World War II, and as I should say, the people of the occupied places during World War II, that aren't combat soldiers. Because at least I figure if you're a combat soldier, at least give you a rifle, you can at least take somebody out. You planning on watching Amazon's Ring of Power? Any thoughts on the... No, I don't know what it is, but I'm not interested in watching woke anything. It doesn't do any good. Those tricks don't work on me. Michael Collins. Oh, I've heard about Michael Collins. Come for painting tipsly with current affairs and trips down memory lane. Yeah. I sometimes will, I sometimes will watch things that I disagree with because it doesn't really, affect, I'm already set in my ways, you know. I'm not going to like watch something and all of a sudden I wake up to be a freaking Marxist. I've become, as I've gotten older, I've become disillusioned with things that maybe I thought differently of before when I was a kid. I think maybe that happens to everybody, but do a 180? Nah. Well, let me go check on the daughter and see if she's ready for me. Although this is going really well, but all right, we got to wrap this up. I got like 5 minutes. Let's see. Da-da-da-da-da. So no chance of you dressing up as Comrade Tony for Halloween this year? That shit's not even funny. Here Rick is going to Cinderella. That'd be a toss-up. Dress up as a woman or a communist. I'd have to go with communist. I'm not gender bending. Sorry. I don't gender bend. Sorry. Oh. I'll dress up as a communist being thrown out of a plane, out of a helicopter. Oh. Streaking. I don't get that. You ever mooning people? Mooning people doesn't make any sense. I know what. I'll show you my ass and somehow it'll be jokes on you. I mean, what? I mean, who comes up with that stuff? People that are stoned. Oh man, this is a good one. Well, this is what I come here for too. Oh. Good stuff, folks. Good stuff. Painting Huns and who knows what else we're going to talk about. But anyhow, so I got to put some miniatures away, and so I can use the lid for this. And hopefully I'll be back on tomorrow as well. And this is, how many is this? We got 2 guys based. And this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be 7. So we can start putting some more stands together. But anyhow, thanks for coming by. As always, folks, entertaining. Tonight was even more entertaining than normal. I appreciate all of you for that. And hopefully you're enjoying it as well. And we'll see you guys, hopefully, tomorrow evening as well. You guys have a good night. I'll check out those movie recommendations. I can't promise that I will watch them because I don't know when the hell I would do that. But at least I'll watch the previews or whatever. And I'm always